And the guy who was doing the interviewing tried to pose the question to her about the match and the umpire, the chair. And she said she wasn't not only not answering it at this time, but she wasn't going to take away from this moment for Naomi because she remembered how it felt when she won her first Grand Slam. She talked about how she played exceptionally well. I mean, she's the queen of the court, make no mistake about it. And she displayed such regal and royal behavior at the finals of the U.S. Open to redirect all of the attention to Osaka, who was victorious, and then to say to her loyal subjects, those of us on television or in TV land, and those of us in the stands at the U.S. Open, no more booing. And I just thought that was typical Serena. It's typical of the queen doing her thing. And so we shout you out today, baby girl. And we'll be glad when your daughter gets an opportunity to see this and to see all of that. So we're happy, excited, and delighted. Feels great in here. Feels great in here. And excited and delighted. Oh, you know, my tech crew, they're trying to keep the noise level down and my air. But listen, I'm going to have to turn that air on after. Because power surges are apt to come. Again, congratulations to Sister Osaka, the U.S. Open Women's Champion, and congratulations to Ashira, Queen Serena, still ruling on the court. Okay. Oh, and you know, I didn't realize that the president of USTA, the sister that is a woman of African ancestry over that organization that was playing over there. That was sort of phenomenal too. It just took me back. We can't talk tennis without talking about Queen Mother Moore too. Our sister Emily Moore from the Belt, and all the work that she's done with junior tennis. And she knows Mr. Williams, Richard Williams, the girls' fathers, Venus and Serena, excuse me, the ladies' dads, because when we first started with them, when Emily first started with them, they were knee-high to a nickel. And so to God be the glory for that. Congratulations. Well, let's move on. Let's do some informational type things. Again, our number in the studio is 631-766-9931. You all know I do my headphones like that because I'm trying to keep my quaff sort of tight. Hello. Hey, Latte. A, B, C, D, E, H, D. Okay, so moving on, beloved, our number here in studio is 631-766-9931, 631-766-9931. I appreciate those of you who tune in because, needless to say, you are helping us as we continue to develop this thing and build it out and do what has to be done. Now, let's keep it moving. It was a busy Saturday last week with the rally, the Souls on the Rolls to the Polls, ENY3. You all know last Friday we had Bishop Frank Anthony White, and Saturday we joined everybody at the cathedral for what was a beautiful rally and a teaching and training session, because what we are doing now is beyond just an election or a midterm. We're building up the base, and so that's key and that's critical. So we want to say thank you to Sister Shelley Brazeley and to Bishop Frank Anthony White, the Zion Cathedral family, the ENY3 family. And let me tell you, the Black church was represented. And by that, I'm talking about in the house last Saturday at that rally. We had African Methodist Episcopal, we had Baptist, we had, of course, Church of God in Christ, we had Presbyterian. I mean, the Black church was represented. We had a UCC in the house. So it was an awesome, awesome representation and participation in what's going to be an ongoing situation as we go to reclaim our communities and be able to have those who have been elected to be accountable. President Barack Obama was one of the few who articulated consistently throughout his tenure, the fact that he was the president for all the people, and that he may not have been elected by everybody, but he was the president for everybody. So in these yet to be United States of America, as our sister Maya Angelou would say. So we pray that those who have been elected to office, and we're going to get to them in a minute, at least crossing the first hurdle, would be mindful of that fact that they are to represent everybody. What I'm looking for is, I just found it. This technology is something. Jeff Dennis is in the air chair. Hey.
Hey.
And of course, the B shop is, of course, is in the hizzy, and we're happy about that. And am I close to the mic? Okay, we're getting feedback already from folks. How's that? Does that sound better, beloved? Want you all to know that I do read the notes that you send me, the text messages. Give us a call at 631-766-9931. Again, 631-766-9931. Beloved, you are sitting with the Sister Minister. We are now streaming live on Facebook. You can go online and pick us up there also, or just go to churchtalkradio.com. You can get us there. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's been going on, but let me do the rest of this calendar. And that is to say that on Saturday, as I have been announcing, September the 29th, we will be over, roll it back, Soretta, roll it back. Women in Ministry, our national conferences this week in Atlanta, the ATL, so we'll be happy to be down there. And then, of course, we'll come back, and on Thursday, September the 20th, we will be over at the Christian Light Missionary Baptist Church over there on Reverend J.J. Evans Boulevard in the city by the sea, Long Beach. And we're scheduled to participate and close out their revival with the Bishop-elect Isaac Randall Melton Jr., of course, is the senior pastor, and our sister beloved, the Lady Elder Crystal K. Melton. Certainly they share the task over there of pastor and leading lady. And so we look forward to sharing with the Christian Light family. We haven't been to the city by the sea in a half a minute, so we're excited about coming to them on next Thursday, September the 20th, and we know it's going to be on and popping. You know, I'm looking at the live feed, and look, this is as bare and as naked as it gets, baby. Take a last good look, because you know the sister going to have her drag on going forward. This is what my people are telling me. To God be glory. So that's going to be on Thursday. Then, you know, I think I had this date wrong, but I'm going to look and see. Am I? I just hit you back, my friend. I'm going to see if I have this date right, because it's also the 10th anniversary of our co-convener, the Right Reverend Kimberly Clemens Jones, the senior pastor over at Valley Stream Presbyterian Church in Valley Stream. Well, her 10th pastoral anniversary is happening, and that's going to take place with the celebratory banquet that we've been happy to, okay, thank you so much, SBE. So that we have been happy to, been invited to her 10th anniversary celebration. And I tell you, time is just getting away. It's just getting away. It's moving so quickly. So that's going to take place, and I want to be clear when I do it. I tell you, this technology is something. Because, you know, we went to her 50th birthday party over there on that rooftop in the city over in Queens, and it was awesome. The hidden treasures that are in our communities are amazing. So anyhow, the Reverend Kimberly Clemens Jones, who we know is the senior pastor of the Valley Stream Presbyterian Church and is a co-convener for Wednesday, will be celebrating her 10th pastoral anniversary. And I just don't, for the life of me, understand why I am having such difficulty on this device, outside of the fact that we know that this device is crying for me to upgrade, and I am fighting tooth and nail to sort of not, sort of not do it, right? Okay, here we go, beloved. Uh, okay, here we are. Okay, so I did September, Jeffrey, I think I did September the 20th. I said that I'd be a Christian night, right? And then, of course, let me say congratulations to Nadia Cunningham and Joshua Cleveland, who will be tying the knot. We are in matrimonial mode. We are just excited and delighted for this young couple. Of course, Nadia Cunningham is the niece of Cheryl Beverly Cunningham. She's one of our young people from back in the day, all grown-it and olded up. She's grown into a beautiful young lady, and of course, big time accountant now, living in the DC area. Well, her and her fiance are tying the knot. Congratulations, Josh and Nadia. There are celebrations going on all that weekend. The actual wedding ceremony will be down at the historic Alfred Street Church. Yes, Alfred Street Baptist Church, and it'll be good to see our good brother and friend Howard John Wesley again. And for those of you who have not seen it, let me put a pin here. Go online and pull up his sermon, A Seat at the Table, and see how masterfully this brother has woven together a tapestry where he's insulting no one but calling folk out in such a manner that you can't help but pause and say, you know, he's right. So check him out. Well, anyhow, that's what ceremony will be down there in October. But I just want to say congratulations because there are celebrations going on that week of the 22nd. Happy birthday to Shiro. Muthit knew there's a tremendous celebration going on with her on the 22nd. I tell you, I'm going to have the super duper turbocharged roller skates. There'll be no sitting for the sister minister that weekend. And then as we continue to roll forward and close out the month, we know that on September the 28th is when the banquet for the Reverend Dr. K.C. Jones, the pastor of the Valley Stream Presbyterian Church. It is her 10th anniversary. Woo, 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 woo. To God be glory. That's going to be at 7 o'clock p.m. at Anton's. And those of you who are still interested in perhaps getting tickets, you certainly can go on Facebook and reach out to the Valley Stream Presbyterian Church. You can call information. It still works for Valley Stream Presbyterian Church. Then, beloved, that's on September the 28th. And we're pleased to be hosting that for her on that evening. And then on Saturday morning, early. Yes, I am turning into a morning person after the sun rises. Usually I'm a morning person for the after midnight hour. And I say that, beloved, because I get some of my best work done. The phone doesn't ring as often. I didn't say it didn't ring. I said it doesn't ring as often at that hour. So I get a lot of work done then. So, but by way of explanation, beloved. So early Saturday morning, September the 29th, we're going to travel over to 240 West 145th Street, the historic Union Baptist Church of Harlem, where the Reverend Brian D. Scott, our brother beloved, is the senior pastor. For Women of Worship, it's their annual retreat. I have had the privilege to be able to work with the women of UBC Harlem for several years now. They keep inviting me back. To God be glory. And so I'm excited about joining the platform. I have workshops I'll be doing that morning and afternoon. And of course, there are others who are there, our conference preachers, the Reverend Lisa Jenkins. And so I'm excited and delighted to be a part once again. And it seems whatever capacity that they would have me in, I'm just humbled and honored to serve. So for those of you who might want to join me, I know a few of the sisters are coming with me from out here. Those of you who might want to join us, you can hit me up on Facebook. You can instant messenger me. You can, oh my goodness, there are comments coming up. I just can't see them. You know, Bishop Luda, he got this thing going on. So we've got screens. You know what, Jeff? I think if it would swivel some, I'd be able to read it. But listen, we've got screens now, this technology. I'm telling you, by the time we get to the end of the year, beloved, we should be on and popping, on and pop. Yeah, there it is. Bam. Okay. Wonderful. So how come I still, uh, does it pull out some? I see Sister Phyllis is on there. Thank you so much. Vernon, who is that? The top one. Vernon. Vernon. Oh, Reverend Vernon Show. Oh, good afternoon, beloved. Trust you and the family over at the Holy Trinity Baptist Church of Well. You know, I really am not supposed to leave them for, and who is that, Bishop Walter who?
Walter Powell.
Walter Powell, thank you for listening. And Phyllis Young, you have to come in and sit with the sister minister
Phyllis Thompson.
Phyllis Thompson, and above her is Phyllis Young. Yes, so you've got to come and sit with me, Pastor Phyllis Young, overseer, founder, Miracle Christian Center Ministries. You've got to come and sit with us on one fabulous Friday, as do so many others. And Pastor Shelton, we're going to have you in also. We know that the moderator is going to join us, I think it's October, listen to me, you know, I done lost my mind. I think it's September. Hold on, let me take a look. This is the good thing about this technology. And I'm going to jump back onto where we were, beloved. But, you know, we keep it real and regular here. Don't worry, I'm going to get to the elections. Just calm yourselves. I see you. You're blowing up my thing. Yes, the moderator of the Eastern Baptist Association of New York, in the person of the Reverend Gilbert Pickett Sr., is scheduled to be sitting with the sister minister on September 21st. That's next Friday. To God be glory. So we are looking forward to him joining us. So Pastor Shelton, if you want to do a drive-by, you feel free. And if you don't, of course, we're going to have you come in and sit with us as we move forward, if you would be so kind. And so many others. And we're looking forward to it. Bishop Gates will be with us, and some of our sisters. Pastor-elect Reverend Joyce Duggar is going to be with us. And of course, Cheryl Beverly Cunningham, we're shouting her out. She's down in Philly this weekend. She'll be heading back up this way, I'm sure, shortly. But we're shouting her out, and our Pearl and the crew who are listening down in Philly. We're saying, hey. I know the crew in Texas, hello to you. So we've got different guests coming up. Of course, Pastor McDowell will be back with us too. The Reverend Dr. Cedric Von Eastley is going to be joining us as we move forward in our process. And so many others. We're going to try and reach out to Bishop Stephanie Riddle Green and have a little bit of everybody in. I'm going to see who we can perhaps talk to when we're at a conference this week, Women in Ministry, because you all know, I don't know, Flo is like all over the place. So depending on how Flo is acting when it's time for me to go, will help decide if me going. Let me go back to the calendar so we can chat some more, beloved. So I told you about all that. The moderator is going to be in with us next week. I told you I'm with UBC Harlem, the Women of Worship. Now listen, we're running up into October. I need you to circle your calendar for Tuesday, October the 9th, when you are invited to meet the Candidates Forum. It's a forum sponsored by the Central Long Island NAACP, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women Suffolk County Chapter, the Links Eastern Shore Chapter, and the Ministerial Alliance of North Amityville and Vicinity. I believe that's MANA, isn't it? Yes, indeed. So anyhow, they're hosting a candidates forum at the Helen Butler Hall of Dominican Village, 565 Albany Avenue, Amityville, New York. This 2018 election, beloved, is critical. It is the midterms, and it is time for a clear message to be sent so that folk will understand that with the presidential election right on our heels, that we are going to make all of the changes, but we have to do it first locally and move on up to that. We are going with this groundswell to be able to connect the dots. And believe it or not, I am of the belief that the Black church at this time is called to service for such a time as this, for us to regalvanize, reconnect, to register, to get our souls on the rolls, and then make sure we get them to the polls, okay? Well, anyhow, to help us do that for the midterms, Tuesday, October the 9th from 7 to 9 p.m. at Helen Butler Hall of Dominican Village, there is going to be a candidates forum for you to meet the candidates. For those of you, it's a night for candidates and constituents, an opportunity to engage voters, answer questions, and offer solutions. Listen, beloved, you need to be there. Yes, we will be doing a drive-through because we understand, and by invitation, of course, but we understand that our communities are wherever we are. Hello? So we're looking forward to that. For additional information, I need for you to contact Shiro Madeline Quintine McKnight. That's right. Her telephone number is 631-620-8489. Again, 631-620-8439. I don't know, maybe as we move forward, we'll be able to put up the graphic, as we go forward and do those types of things. I'm loving how we are growing this thing and how we're growing into it. It's fabulous. Just signed? Who just signed on?
Pastor Easton, your pastor.
The board! I didn't look at the board. Thank you, Bishop. Well, Dr. Easley, welcome. Welcome to Church Talk Radio, beloved. Who else signed on there? I see.
Jeanette was that's the nurse for Daddy Luda.
Oh, Daddy Luda. Hey, Daddy Luda. And hello, Daddy Luda's nurse. Oh, this is very exciting. This is very exciting. I can't wait until I get this down, beloved. I cannot wait until I begin to master this. That's why I'm so excited for all the years I've been in broadcast. This technology, when I see Roland Martin makes it easy, okay? Roland makes it look like, okay, piece of cake. I've been doing this walk in the park. I mean, this brother with the sticks and the... Roland, I'm just not that good. But I tell you, I enjoy his broadcast, and we're tuning up. Bishop Luda has us really engaged in this technology, which is fabulous. So I'm excited about it, and I'm excited about all of you who are signing on. Those who sign on, because everybody who listens doesn't necessarily click on so I can see their names because they know I'll put them on blast. Now, last couple of items, beloved. So we've got that candidates forum. Let me encourage that there are candidates forums held in Nassau and Suffolk in our various communities. We'll relay those dates as we get them. Let me say this, that on the last day to deliver an absentee ballot in person to the Board of Elections was yesterday. So I hope y'all got it in, okay? Let's talk about the races. Let's talk about when we come back. Oh, last thing on the calendar, I'm sorry. November, you all know we are headed back to the ATL. We're being hosted by Pastor Warnock, the Ebenezer Baptist Church, When Legacy Lives. That's right. The Black Celestial Choral Ensemble of Syracuse University will be in concert down at Ebenezer, along with some other very special guests. We'll give you more information as we move forward. Of course, the concert date is November 17th, and we're excited and delighted. The Dean of Hendricks Chapel, our good friend and brother Brian Conkle, who has been working diligently along with TAG BCCE, the alumni group, in terms of pulling this thing together. And of course, we would not be able to do it without the likes of the alumni group and just Syracuse alumni down in the ATL. And so hats off to the team that consists of the Dean of Hendricks, which of course is the center of spiritual life on Syracuse, the Black Celestial Choral Ensemble, which of course has been and continues to be now permanently institutionalized, and then of course program development. So we're looking forward to a win-win. And we need you to mark your calendars now, beloved, because we are coming to the ATL. And to connect the dots on that, as we will do when we move forward, Syracuse University has the largest Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. commemoration to any campus in the country. Part of it is attributable to Dr. King and Dr. Willie. Dr. Willie was the chair of sociology. They both were Morehousemen. They were colleagues and classmates. And Dr. King made it to Syracuse. He addressed our campus twice on two occasions, the last one being the front runner, they tell us, to the I Have a Dream situation. So
Syracuse just chimed in.
as you in the house, go orange. So and listen, we all know some of the incidences that have happened, that terrible mark in terms of the frat house and just those things. I'm here to witness and say that, listen, those things exist all over the place, but that does not define Syracuse. This type of an endeavor is part of the legacy. And so Dr. King made it to Syracuse on twice at the invitation of Dr. Willie. And so we're connecting all of the dots because legacy lives. And this endowment that we have crafted, tag BCCE, the alumni group with the university, so that the choir is institutionalized, and part of it being the fact that it's the only student organization on that campus that had every other organization involved with it. The Bishop Norman Lyons, who pastors, is the senior pastor at Fountain of Life and Uniondale, assisted us with our kickoff back in 2015. He was the first voice director of the Black Celestial Choral Ensemble at Syracuse University, aka BCCE. And needless to say, we kicked off this campaign. You all know about the big celebration we had, the coming back together of all the alumni of color last fall, how we rocked it out. Kurt Carr was our special guest, and we rocked it out well. This Atlanta immersion for our students to connect the dots, to be a part of making legacy, to connect the dots with the history, that these university ambassadors, if you will, are going to go forth, and we're connecting the dots. Legacy lives. This is the 50th year of the assassination of Dr. King. There's just so much rich history, and since legacy lives, we're going full circle. And let me tell you something, beloved. Shout out to Barry Wells, who's up in the chancellor's office, who was the administrator at that time. I think he was the coordinator, he was the coordinator of the Office of Minority Affairs. And now he's the assistant to this chancellor. He'd been a dean, came up through there. But Barry is the administrator, largely responsible for hooking me up with the likes of L.A. Ford and Irvin Allgood. Well, really with Irvin Allgood, because L.A. and I had already known each other. So shout out, Latif. So I'm just saying the richness of coming full circle of this chancellor, shout you out, Chancellor Severud, and then of course Dr. Chan. And but our good friend and brother, Barry, we shout you out and thank you for all that you are doing, have done. Hi, Claudette. But this dean, a young brother, Brian Conkle, awesome. And the fact that we are able to work together, and it's always a good thing when folk are respectful. That's one thing we believe in, being respectful. But it's even better when you connect in the spirit first. And God ordained this whole Atlanta piece 3 years ago when we said we were going to start out on Strong Island and end up in ATL and connected the dots. And so I've run on, but it's an exciting time. We're excited about it, beloved. Again, my number down here, 631-766-9931, 631-766-9931. So those of you who want to join us down in Atlanta, those in the greater Atlanta metropolitan area, we know that folk are going to be traveling. We are just looking forward to a glory, hallelujah time, and as we do this spiritual immersion. Our country is at a place now where we need to be more compassionate, we need to be more understanding, we need to show more love, because love is an action word. And I'm still not able to wrap my head around the fact that in a Christian nation, folk got problems calling the name of Jesus. It's sort of still, so that means we're in trouble. Because if you're living in a nation with a majority population of quote unquote Christians, but there's such a fraction, because when you're a Christian and you can say that the path we are on as a country under the leadership of 45 is a good one, then there's something wrong. Here's what I know. I know that the prophetic voice cannot and will not be compromised. I know that God will be able to do what it is that God wants to do. I know that it was God that hardened Pharaoh's heart, but it was also God that delivered the people up out of bondage. So I'm not going to get it twisted to think that our fate is completely tied up in that, but I am going to say that we are charged with doing justice, loving mercy, and walking humbly with our God, because that which you do to the least of these, you also do to me. And one of the ways, beloved, that we are able to communicate that is at the ballot box, is when we vote one person, one vote. One person, one vote. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people are created equal. Yes, back in the day it was all men, but no, now it's all people. That men has to be expanded to include humankind. I'm just saying. So, primary day in New York State was yesterday, because if it had been as it has traditionally been after Labor Day, you know, that second Tuesday, is it, I believe, then what would have happened, it would have fallen on 9/11 as it did. Is that Jesus calling? I hope not. No, it's not. Okay, thank God. Um, as it did back in 2001. Listen, smile and give your face a break, okay? Hello. In 2001 primary day, I remember it clearly, was on 9/11. And this past Tuesday, it was 9/11 again, and the actual Tuesday as it had happened. So it was moved, our primary day was moved to yesterday, Thursday, which was the 13th of September. And of course, there was some interesting races. We had the gubernatorial challenge, and that's the process, to be able to challenge. Listen, nothing wrong with challenging. So the gubernatorial race, we had the Honorable Andrew Cuomo and the Honorable Cynthia Nixon. And of course, we know that Governor Cuomo was victorious in that primary challenge. But listen, you got to be impressed with the numbers and the turnout that Sister Nixon produced her first time out the box. I'm sure she was at 40%. Let me look here and see what we got here. Let me see where they go. I had it pulled up before, but the numbers. We know that. Okay, hold on one second, y'all. Let me just pull this up. You know I have trouble walking and chewing gum sometimes. Okay, here we go. So Andrew Cuomo and Cynthia Nixon, it was a very lively and vibrant race for the Democratic candidate for governor for November. But Andrew Cuomo came in at 65%, a little better than 65. Cynthia with 34% of the vote, 34.3%. And so that's not a bad showing for a first time out. As a matter of fact, it's pretty good. And then, of course, they say, but you know, you got to get 40% to really be a viable candidate. No, I think that was very good for the actress turned activist. Then, of course, a race that we watched closely was the lieutenant governor's race. And I'm telling you, Jumaane Williams garnered 46.6% of the vote statewide, and yet he was not, he met with limited success. And it's limited success because he's not the Democratic candidate, but he's in the game now. He's got skin in the game statewide. And I think that's a big, big plus, because the vote difference between them was nominal. Kathy Hochul got 53% and Jumaane 46.6%. And let me say this. Channel 12, I was a bit disappointed with how you handled the uh, the New York State Attorney General's race when you put up the graphics on it, because it was amazing to me that you would have Sean Patrick Maloney, his photo, and then have Zephyr Teachout's photo, then have Letitia Tish James, her photo, and then Alicia Eve's photo. I thought that very interesting because out of this group, the two electeds were Tish James and Maloney. And J comes before M, so I'm going to put all candidates alphabetically. Does that sound right? If I'm putting them all up. But the way that you did it, Channel 12, it struck me I found it very interesting that you would have Tish James in a third position, and she's an elected official, behind Zephyr Teachout, who is a professor. Makes you want to say, Okay, so congratulations, Tish. She made history as the first public advocate and for the city of New York. And now she is poised to make history again, securing the Democratic nomination for Attorney General for the state of New York. And I tell you, we're excited and delighted about it because the sister is qualified, credentialed, and knows how to get it done. So congratulations, Tish, and we are happy for you and happy for us. So we're going to make sure that we get out there and do what we're supposed to do. Then there were, Green Party and other parties, and they had their stuff. And now locally, very, very locally, we're going to talk about the race in the 18th when I come back. You're sitting with the sister minister, and we'll be right back. I'm trying to see who I have. To say with my soul. I love this. This is Jeff Roberson's It Is Well. I love it. Okay, beloved. Okay, all right. Are we back? We're back? No, are we? Hello. Are we back? Praise God. Beautiful. So, beloved, I'm not hearing myself though. That's the elder Jeff Roberson off of his CD project, The Journey. Jeff Roberson in New Life as they go to continue to minister. Thank you. In the background, okay, volume back up now. Thank you so much. I said when we come back, we were going to talk about this race in the 18th between former Assemblywoman Earlene Hooper and Assemblywoman-elect Taylor R. Rayner. She will be, congratulations to Taylor Rayner. She secured 52.6% of the vote, and Earlene Hooper 47.3% of the vote. So Taylor Rayner was victorious in the 18th Assembly District primary. And of course, I know you all had my phone hopping last night and this morning. Wow. And sure, I would love to hear some of your thoughts if you're brave enough to call in at 631-766-9931. If you go online to Picture This Media, Antonio Kelly, and I think we even shared it, Tony Kelly happened to be filming last week's rally. And I happened to hear that there was a snippet, they had a piece on there part of what my remarks were at the rally, and I was quoted as saying that Ms. Rayner is probably a bright young lady, maybe, but that, and I made the comment about her not being the person for this time, and some of you who wanted me to expound upon it after the fact, and I did prior to the election. The reality is this: we should never have dictated to us who our leadership should be where we live. By that I mean, even though I am not a member or I don't reside in the 18th Assembly District, my school district is in the 18th. I have other interests throughout the 18th Assembly District. Yes, the lines during redistricting were drawn right up to my block, and then a whole chunk of us, heavy voters, were cut out. And that was on Earlene Hooper's watch. Yes, that is part of what was done. Very political move. But people took it too personally. When I say took it too personally, the reason I spoke out in terms of this process is because I've been on both sides. I've been the incumbent, the designee, excuse me. I've been the designee and I have been the insurgent. That's the I was looking for, insurgent, for the party. So I'm very familiar with how it works, what the rules are. The reality is, Earlene Hooper came out of the Democratic Convention for Nassau County as the designated candidate for the primary, the designated candidate for the general election, for the slate. What happened, a challenge emerged when the young lady Taylor Rayner, when Miss Rayner came into the mix. Now, she has every right to run. That was never a question, her right to run. Everybody has a right to run if you feel strongly about something in a position. The problem is, what became readily discernible and apparent is that the Honorable Jay Jacobs, who is the chair of the Nassau County Democratic Party and that new Democratic Club, and Democratic officials were not working for the designated candidate. I mean, so in other words, you change the rules when it suits you, regardless of how the community may feel. And then they come with lines like, well, the community voted. How does an upstart come and have the ability, okay? We know that the mailings that went out, they were beautiful. 4, 5, 8 color jobs, I mean, fabulous. And I know they cost money back in the day. And we're very clear that they are not cheap. The mailings that went, and some folk were like, "Rat, we getting 2 and 3 mailings, color pieces a day." And this, so I'm curious, what kind of backing and where did the backing come from for that to occur? And then the other thing, listen, those of us who have been out here and who know that common sense, those who have it, and we know sometimes it's not all that common, but the reality is that as a new face, as someone who is brought up through the ranks, as someone who has grown in a community, been raised by a community, there's a certain amount of recognition that goes along with the name. And although Assemblywoman Hooper did many things I disagreed with, I know in the last few years she has been stepping up. And under Carl Hasty's leadership as the Speaker of the Assembly, and some of the folk who she has surrounded herself with now, I have to tell you, it wasn't the time for that type of change. It just was not. And I'm talking solely from the standpoint of, as a junior member of the Assembly, you're going to have to go through, pay your dues. It's almost like starting over again. So I at this time, that's why it becomes important when we talk about souls on the rolls to educate our communities to the significance, to say, oh, it's time for a change. Yes, I'm not disagreeing, but not that type of change right now. But it has happened. According to the numbers, she garnered 52%. It was a slick, well oiled campaign operation. And as I said, it just reeks of duplicitous behavior because some folk are selected. Now, here's the only advice that I would give to the sister who's going to be going into this general election, because you have to be very careful too how the game is played. Sometimes they put somebody up to knock off the heavyweight so that the other party can put in who they want in. That's the way they cut deals and the way it works. Well, that's my experience is how it has worked. And you have to be careful because everybody who gives their word doesn't really give their word. Or maybe they don't stand by it. Okay, so anyhow, my advice to uh, Miss Miss Taylor Rayner, as she goes through this process, because now you have a general election in November, and take nothing for granted. And the reality is, you need to stay woke. And I pray that if you are successful in November, that you remember the community that put you in and not the bosses. Because in real, that's the other thing. The chair really is responsible to the committee people that make up the party. And those are the voting folk, our representatives who live on our blocks, our neighbors, etc. It should never be a totally top-down handed thing. In the same way, folk were saying, well, Ms. Hooper had been there for 30 years, it's time for a change. Jay Jacobs been there for a minute too, and it might be time for him to go so we get some fresh blood and fresh ideas and some more participation that's totally inclusive. I have history with them. And so I'm quite familiar with how folk operate. And so what I'm saying, beloved, is that we don't need anyone to come in and to dictate to us as we're being dictated to from 1600. But here locally, we certainly don't need folk to come and pick our leaders and say, this one's good, that one's not. We have to, as a community, reclaim our power. And I believe it begins with the Black church, because the Black church covers all denominations, all of them. And so it's time for us to come, retool, re-educate, and get souls on the rolls and take them to the polls. But congratulations, it's just beginning. And Tish, we are proud of you, sister, proud of you, and looking forward to victory in November. And everybody knows, of course, that Miss Matilda, who is Andrew's mom, has a special place in our heart. So, of course, he got our vote. And his father was cool too. We had our disagreements sometimes, but overall he was a good governor. So relationships are important. They really are. So we are happy that this season has gone. Those of you who wish to comment or hit me up on Facebook or say something concerning this 18th, I think it's getting ready to be hard times again, real hard. Because now money is not going to be as accessible to come into the community. It's amazing that when money designated for the 18th went other places, that those who were in party leadership, etc., nobody had a problem with it. But as soon as funds start getting directed to the actual identified recipients, suddenly we've got to change the game. And whatever happened to, well, we don't endorse anybody because they're both Democrats until after the primary is over. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that one. And that's usually the standard issue or position that people take, so that publicly there'll be no confusion that this Democrat was with that Democrat as opposed to that Democrat, so that the party would stay somewhat neutral and that those players would. So The one thing about this process in the 18th, it certainly pulled the covers off of who's who and who's zooming who. And all I can say is, as you sow, shall you reap. Because what goes around does come around, and God is not mocked. Yes, I do believe that dividing up the 18th Assembly District, again, it was done years ago, but clearly this perhaps could be part of the result. So I'm not so sure that the defeat came at the hands of, although that was attributed, because it was less than a 600 vote victory in the 18th. But it's done now, time for the general, and let's see what happens, how we're going to move forward in terms of the building process, beloved. That's where I'm at. I'm at the place where we want to rebuild, where we want to capture, re-engage, because listen, we understand folk getting hopeless and getting discouraged and getting frustrated. But hey, listen, just like the young man who was released, did you see that, Jeffrey, the young brother who they wrongfully convicted, and he got out yesterday, and his mom, who was ill, was praying that she would get a chance to see him. I don't have his name right now in front of me, but that was some awesome stuff. And we need to start making those kinds of corrections. And we need to be able, the other thing, this thing with the deportation and separation of the kids still being torn apart, as well as violence against women and girls, there's a lot we've got to cover. I'm out of time, but I'm glad we had the opportunity to chit-chat and sit with the sister minister that you did on this fabulous Friday. So, beloved, that was a lot of information. I know you can go back, listen to the rebroadcast on Monday. We'll rebroadcast 4 to 5 p.m. on next Wednesday. We'll rebroadcast during morning drive, 7 to 8 a.m. But the bottom line is you can go to churchtalkradio.com anytime and pull us up, any of our past programs. A shout out to Mama Roberson, who's celebrating her 95th birthday. Jeff Roberson's mom is going to be 95 years old. Happy birthday, Mama Roberson, and blessings to you. And listen, I better shout out Mama La. I got so involved, I didn't shout out Mama La today. Hello, Mama La. God bless you. Love you much. Lori K, tag team. Be strong. Hang in there. BK, we're doing it. So listen, beloved, between now and next Friday, I'm asking you to please stay blessed. I can't wait till I get my little makeover.
Great show.
Oh, wonderful, Bishop.
Yeah.
Thank you. So listen, I should have had you come in here this week, but we set it up. So going forward. Now next week, I hope you're going to be around.
I will.
Good. The moderator will be in next week.
A moderator?
Yeah. That's the 21st, isn't it? Jeffrey's going to post up the guest list.
Okay.
And so that should be good. And Vernon Shelton was listening. Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't he on here? I thought I heard him on here.
Yeah, he's been on here.
Mm-hmm.
He got busy when he took on that new role.
Oh, okay. Well, they all going to come running back in a minute. To God be glory. That'll be a good thing.
You think that Evangelist Flowers got it already?
Huh? Did you send it to him?
No, I'm saying, can I cut it off right
Yeah,
there?
you got to cut that off. Yeah.
We're not live anymore, are we?
Nope.
Good. All right. All right. And I feel better. We got here a few minutes earlier.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Wasn't crazy.
That's what I'm telling you. Traffic moved well. And now.
Now I can X this out.
Yeah.
Go to screen.
Oh yeah, it's great when you have somebody here interacting with the people who are.
Sure.
Now I go down here to
I tell. I mean to Chrome.
Chrome.
All right.
For this?
Ooh.
I tell.
No, I can.
Now the last week when I had Beverly, I have to go back and look at it. Beverly and Anthon, I was on the floor.
You on the floor?
I took a high chair and sat here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it worked out.
Okay.
Okay, because this mic came here, she was here, and it's because otherwise we would have been like this. But when I came here, because I can even next week stand if I have 2 or 3. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Bishop, or
you can like you said, you go off to the side,
mm-hmm.
or we can widen the shot. We'll
okay, because I was down here and I liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah, I liked it. It was okay. And from here, I know I'll be able to see that TV 1, 2, 3. You know, so maybe we can do something like that.
Your pastor on here
What do you say?
is restating his preference and desire to have a remote location at Union. You know, Robert went out there and met with him.
I remember.
And
you told me
that closet in the vestibule, that's what he was going to convert. So
now
we never heard back from him, but I assume that may have been trusted. You know, listen, I know churches have to do with trustees. No, that's that.
So now, Bishop, I can just
So
brag. Do I have to put anything in?
Oh, yeah, it's off the chat box is off, but yeah, on the chat box he had written that he wanted a remote location in Hempstead. You know, he just wants Union to have what any other church in the area has. He said, we got to have this.
If he wasn't so hard-headed.
I know.
And if he would listen.
You're ahead about that, right?
But you know, Bishop, you take a horse to the boy, you can't make it.
Oh, Lord.
And now it's coming around.
Yeah, see.
Once you get out there, get spanked, and you find everybody. Now you're going to bring it back and go, now. But you know, listen, it is what it is.
I know.
And the reality is, God does what God wants to do. So,
yes,
you know, but can you imagine that we've been on here? Have we been on a year yet? Yeah.
Just about
a year.
Really?
Sure. And he hooked up with him before that.
That's right. He came out when Bernie Shelton had a show.
Okay.
And easily was one of the first guests.
Yes.
Like second week, first and second week. And he announced then that he wanted to do something in Hempstead. And we went over there, took a look, measured the stuff, the whole 9 yards. Never heard back. Okay?
Not I'm having issues with such and such. Not I'm doing this.
Just nothing. Just no.
Incommunicado.
Incommunicado.
And then who pops up on churchtalkradio.com with absolutely no knowledge that any of that transpired?
Right. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Lord help our people. Here, young man.
Right, he's a young man. Yeah.
So you understand how you're frustrated sometimes.
Oh, you ought to know better, right?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
You put it,
no, so put Dr. McKnight, and then I can drag it.
And then just drag it.
You get me. You won't have it down. So I don't know if you're getting ready to do anything like that again, because Anthon already has it set up, and Anthon.
Anthon is.
He said, so we would be able to get in on. I I said, sure you can.
Yeah.
He already set up for it because he wanted
Yeah,
to
oh,
get in
he-
my
Oh yeah. He's got a great setup over there. All we have to do is just give him the meeting code. You can just give him a few digits to put in.
Well, you know those things cost. There's a fee. You know, I mean, they can do what they do, but then, you know what I'm saying, Bishop? Come on, there's gotta be, because I can't be paying.
I hear you.
You know, yeah, I'm a rap for a girl. I'm trying to bring stuff in.
Bring it in, bring it in.
You know, and do it like that. So, but this is what I like about this is as we continue to go. Like now, next week I have to be presentable because
See that right?
I
Now you know the cameras are on.
oh yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you
I
gonna
know. That's a
got
good
in the diva mode.
That's it.
Go
That's
ahead.
it. I'm like, who calls on next week? Yeah, and that's it. Cause summer's gone now. I gotta get you them.
Everybody's on.
And listen, what it does, it engages people.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
people get engaged with the, you know, the process too. Sometimes, Bishop, you know how that is.
Oh yeah.
Because
You're
sometimes-
intimidated by the.
Oh yeah, the
Oh, yeah.
but when you give them, oh, you know, she's all right. Yeah, okay. Whatever.
Oh, Lord.
Same.
Same.
Oh gosh. Whew. Jeff, I'm gonna be out here. I'm going to the ladies. I got them 2:30, so we gotta step up.
All right. So now that's done. You want me to take all this out?
Yeah. This is the other program for the day. So.
I said, wow, Bishop's right here with Anthony. I said, oh.
Oh yeah, I was.